You anymore, spending all this time trying to get you out my mind. Oh, it feels so good to take you off the pedestal. I don't know what I was thinking. Let it be more than drinking and going back to your place, never to see you again.
And now we're not muted.
Oh, we were muted.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's done that before, so apparently that means she's a slow learner, but she is a learner. So.
OMG, this is my guest's fault. I'm gonna blame it on her.
You're blaming Janet?
Yeah. All right. So So this is Kanavi coloring outside the lines. I'm Navia.
I'm Kenny.
And this is Kanavi coloring outside the lines.
Right. So you got it backwards.
Yeah.
But it
So
still
I
works.
messed up again.
All
So
right.
there it is.
All right. At least you're consistent.
So last week we had.
Babe, actually go all the way back to the beginning and then bring it forward to last week and then to this week.
This is why I let him do what he does, because, otherwise he's not happy.
In order to properly set the stage, we should go to how this all started. You and I were doing a video. And I don't think it was live, or maybe it was, I don't remember. No, it wasn't. I don't know. We did a video, and one of the commenters in the comment section was a female whose username was J10, J-10, yeah. Which I assumed meant her first name starts with J and she's from Tennessee. But it could mean anything. So that's just kind of how it works in my mind.
See, I never had that part figured out.
Yeah, lucky guess, whatever. And she left comments that we found provocative. Like she left comments like, do you guys have any thoughts or opinions or whatever on my situation? I'm a 31-year-old female, normal, attractive, decent life going, whatever, and nothing scary or crazy about me. However, I seem to have difficulty with guys pursuing me, asking me out for dates or that kind of thing. So, and because we couldn't see her and because we didn't know anything about her, it's very difficult to just speculate on that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So we talked a little bit about it, and then that led to you hosting a little panel, or I should say you put up a panel asking feedback, comments, and you explained the situation. And then I think you specified that for whoever commented or whoever left the best comments or whatever, you would invite them to then do a video with us in which we would further discuss it, which led to the video last week. Am I saying this right?
Well, yeah. Well, so, and I did this in a group that I'm an admin of on Facebook. And so
right.
There's, oh my goodness, there's just thousands of people in there. So that's what we did. And
right.
So,
and the goal was to try to get some substantive
Right.
information and feedback so that we could then go back to J10 and say, we didn't ignore you. We've been considering and thinking about what you asked. We wanted to try to give you something of value.
Right.
And that sort of brings us to tonight.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Very good, honey.
Close. I mean, I probably left out something. But anyway. So, tonight's video, we've actually invited J10 to be on with us. And it turns out that her name is Janet. So, would you like to bring up Janet now?
I would.
Since she's just been patiently waiting in the wings.
Patiently waiting. Hey, Janet.
And there's Janet.
All right.
Do we have audio for Janet? Can we hear her?
So let me see. There she goes. Yep.
Hey.
And you are from Tennessee, yes?
So Kenny was correct. I'm Janet from Tennessee. Good old Tennessee.
Okay, and which part of Tennessee?
Middle Tennessee, in the Nashville area.
Okay, my mom and dad are from Nashville. They're both deceased now, but that's where they grew up and went to high school and everything. So I have lots of family still to this day from that area.
Oh yeah, it's nice. I've been here since like 1998, so I mean, it's treated me good. It's treated me really good.
Good, very good.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've never been there, so I don't know. Now we have a reason to come down and visit.
Yeah, definitely. I can show you.
It would be come up and visit, but
We'll come. Yeah, because we're down.
We're south.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, we are. All right. So, and I'm over here trying to make sure I am sharing out some of this. So here we are. When are you going to be 32?
Actually, next Wednesday on the 14th. So coming right.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well.
So she was born in 91. Is that right? 91?
Yeah, 1991.
By sheer coincidence, last night we watched a movie from 1991.
What movie? Oh.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, if you've never seen it, it's fabulous. You should see it. I highly recommend it.
Don't see
Well,
it.
now I will, because everything from 1991 is good. Everything.
You know what? I'm going to go along with that logic because she's from 91. So there you go. I like that.
Okay. So, all right. So we are going to kind of pick this conversation up. So, what I want to do is actually have you first tell your story. You know what your situation is, what's been going on with you, and how we landed here. Can you kind of fill our newbie audience in?
Right. For anybody who's watching and doesn't know the story, sort of bring us up to date.
Yes.
Yeah, so I originally commented on you guys. I think it was a video you made 6 months ago, and the title caught my eye. I believe it was like Saving for Marriage, something like that. I don't think it was a live video. I can't remember how I found you guys' page. I think someone who I subscribed actually like shared you guys' page.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of scrolling through your videos, and that title caught my eye. A, because you don't really see that a lot in this day and age, saving it for marriage. That's just not a thing that's promoted. And B, that's on the same page that I'm at. I'm also saving it for marriage. So I was like, I definitely have to click and see what this is about. And I kind of listened how you told your story about how you had Kenny wait and how you told him that. And he respected that. Even when you guys went on vacation in Florida, he still didn't try to do anything. And that was just really attention grabbing to me because I've never done anything. But when I do tell people who I'm dating or whatnot, when we get to that point and it comes up in conversation, that's where I let them know. And in my personal experience, it's never just been a, well, okay, you know, let's do this. I can wait. It's always, you know, something, whether it's trying to push my buttons or get me to change my mind or even just leaving or whatnot. So I was kind of inspired by you guys' story. That's why I kind of dived deep into it.
Oh, thank you. So, I mean, we know our motivation for our channel is to inspire people, to get people to think a little bit more deeply about things, to be honest, to be real about relationships. They're not all, you know, hunky-dory. And there are certain standards that you should have, especially when you're living for God. And you can't live for the world, although you are tempted to. So then we would just share also our story about how we met, how we reconnected, and all of that. So we're just kind of basically putting our lives out there on out there in these social media streets. And so I mean, and that's all we did. Other than that, we didn't have a real, I mean, not that we had a real agenda, like.
No, We just called the channel Doing Life Together. So it was really just sort of telling our story and then our day to day and week to week experiences. And then because we are, I'm going to choose my words carefully, older. We're not old. We are not old. But we're older. We have, they say that you get wiser as you get older, okay? Now, I'm not saying that I'm wise, but I will say that I'm a lot wiser than I was 30 years ago, okay?
As it should
So,
be.
correct. So whatever wisdom that we may have accumulated along the way, if we can share any of that, that anyone may benefit from, then we certainly try to do that. So.
Yeah. So when you were putting in the comments about what your situation was, I immediately felt like I think that we should respond to it because there's a lot of people out there that's in your same situation, and even those that may not be virgins, they've decided they were going to shut it down, be celibate until marriage, and so it's a like situation, not exactly, but it's a like situation, and so we just thought that we should just get this out here and talk about it,
Right.
and that's why we had guests on our last show because we wanted to offer you as much wisdom as possible, and so
Definitely. And you guys address. I appreciate you guys addressing it on your last video also.
yeah, well, we didn't forget about you.
No, not at all.
We didn't forget.
Yeah, sorry that I missed the live. I think I was like at work when you guys were doing it, but I still got to watch it afterwards.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, we didn't know if you were going to catch it live or whatever, but we just said, well, we'll just roll it out. And so, and those of you that are watching, please feel free to comment and to let us know your thoughts on the subject as well. So, and when we talk to people, we're not coming from a religious aspect, but we do come from a biblical aspect. We're not throwing darts. We're not judging. You know, wherever people are, they are. You know, everybody is an X something. That's my whole. That's what I say. Everybody's an X something. But when you come into the presence of the Lord and you begin to learn the ways of the Lord, then there's a transformation. And the struggle is that you're still in the world, and you still have feelings. You're still a human being. You still have needs. And I know that there are people that will hang everything that they do on, well, I have needs, and they leave it at that, instead of saying something like, well, yes, I have needs, this is the way the Lord built me, but I am going to make a decision to be holy and to wait, and to wait on the Lord and to not rush. I think that we've all walked into relationships where we just rushed, and it was just like a bad idea.
Right.
We just didn't wait. And so, and I'm not saying just wait for sex, but just wait to talk about, the wait to find out more about that person, to see if this person is a good fit for me. And I think that one of our guests, which I had agreed with, had said that you should not bring it up on the first date. And for me, it's like you go out on a date, and on your date, you're talking about all of your exes. No. You may bring it up at some point, but the first date, the second date, maybe not a good time. So there are certain topics to be avoided because you're in listening mode.
Let me add something to this. Okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't want to sound like I'm disagreeing. I just want to add an extra piece to this.
Okay.
Okay, so you should never meet somebody and say, "Hi, my name's Janet, and I'm waiting until marriage to have sex." As an opening line, probably not the best option, okay?
No,
However,
that's a negative.
on a first date, there's probably nothing unusual about the conversation going in the direction of, so, tell me what you're looking for in a relationship. Tell me where, like if you and I were to turn out to be a good match, tell me how you see things playing out. There's nothing unusual about that happening on a first date.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Right. And or the guy could ask her that. All I'm saying is, if the conversation goes in that direction, there's no reason that you wouldn't say, well, this needs to be stated just so that there's no fuzzy, murky, gray area. I'm not going to have sex until I'm married, okay? And there's so many good reasons to say that. Number one, just because it's simply truthful and it represents who you are and what you believe in, all right? But I'm telling you, and at your age, 31 going on 32, assuming that you're dating guys in your age group, it's going to be a minority. I don't know. Out of every 10, there's going to be one or something like that who are going to be cool with that. Because guys at that age, I'm speaking from experience, I was that age, guys at that age have an expectation based upon the culture we live in and based upon the reality of the world around us.
Yeah.
There's an expectation that sex and marriage are two separate things, and if we start dating, we should be having sex. Whether that leads to marriage or not is a completely separate topic. So that's something you are definitely going to be up against. And for the guys who share that mindset of, I have an expectation of sex, they should know this right up front so that if they choose to not be interested, let them make that choice. That's fine. You guys were not a match anyway. All right? But again, you don't want to lead the first conversation with that because that would just be weird under any circumstances. So even if the guy totally agrees with you, it would still be a very strange way to begin.
You're like, what?
Yeah, right.
Right.
We could get to that, but why are you leading with that? Yeah. So.
Right. And then, and it's so interesting because you have to have the getting to know you period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Spending time, like, tell me about you. I want to hear about you. I want to know about you. I'll tell you about me. And if you're dating guys that go to church, that read their Bible, that they're trying to live for God, the conversations are going to go a little bit different than if you're trying to date somebody that you just met at a club or in Walmart, some random person, and that's not anchored in God. So it's just going to be two completely different conversations.
Okay, so let me ask this real quick because this is kind of important. Janet, do you do the whole internet dating thing?
So I did, but it wasn't really like actual dating apps. It was those silly apps like Tinder and what's it called, Bumble. I've never actually used an actual dating app. The
Like
ones that
Match.com?
yeah, I've never used any of those. But I'm not really a fan of online dating. I don't know. I'd rather someone approach me in person and feel my energy and want to come up and talk to me.
Okay, but I tell you what, I want you to at least give this some thought, okay? Because when you write up a profile for online dating, and keep in mind, this is like being a minnow swimming among sharks, okay? So you've got to be very careful. But when you write up a profile, you can be as elaborate and as specific and as detailed as you want to be as far as describing yourself.
Right.
And when you describe yourself as a person of faith, a person who goes to church, a person who reads the Bible, a person who prays, once you've included all of that stuff right there, a lot of the guys who you don't want to be bothered with are going to turn away because they read all that and they go, okay, why would I waste my time here? I'm not going to achieve my goal. A lot of guys online dating are looking for sex. That's just what guys do. And so you will scare a lot of them away with that sort of thing. So
yeah, Aviar said if he's asking about the topic on the first date, I'd run.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
I don't think I've ever had that discussion on the first date. I don't think that anyone should have access to that information before like getting to know me. I feel like that takes a couple of things and whatnot. I wouldn't just straight out give away that information.
agreed. And listen, most guys, not all, because there's some dummies out there, but most guys aren't going to be crude in the way that they approach that, but they're waiting for the girl to do something to open the door to that, and then once the door's open, then they'll go walk right through. So, but yeah, if a guy's asking anything about sex on the first date, he's probably a really bad choice.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, when I was doing online dating, that's how, but
That was
I don't
kind
really.
of what your experience was?
Well, yeah, because you're over there on Tinder and Bumble. And, I mean,
Right.
I knew somebody that told me about Tinder, and I was just like, Seriously?
Okay, so those came along after my online dating life was over, but the things I heard, wow. I heard it was just a meat market. That's what I heard. Tinder. I
Yeah.
heard Tinder was a meat market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I'm all for like going out and meeting people. I have no problem like, like just going. I don't want to sit behind my screen and just, try to find somebody. I'm not about that.
I understand.
Yeah.
I just always looked at it as it's just another avenue, just like going out to here or there, whatever. It's just another avenue to meet somebody. And most of the time when I met somebody online, well, this is especially true if they don't live locally. Most of the time I said, if I had not met her online, we would have never met. We would have never bumped into each other in Walmart or anything, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
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 So, anyway, again, it's just another avenue.
Yeah, and I mean, at first I used to think, no, no, like it's not even a conversation, no. But again, it is an avenue, and I personally know people that are saved, they're in the Lord, and that's exactly how they met.
Yeah.
That's exactly how to let. Matter of fact, one lady, the Lord was telling her how to do her profile. So she had to clean it up
Yeah.
and then minimize it because she had all this other stuff, and he told her how to do it, and then she met her husband.
Oh, I'm telling you, I remember reading profiles where the girl wrote a half a page of text about her faith and her beliefs, whatever. And so, as the guy, when you read that, you pretty much know if I'm not on board with all of that, she's not going to be interested. So
Right.
it's
Because you only, it's like when you go fishing, the bait is for a particular type of fish. All bait is not for all fish. So whatever you put on your profile, that's who you're looking for.
right.
And you have to be specific. I mean, even the Bible says to make your request known unto the Lord. So you have to be specific, and but it doesn't mean that. And let me say this before I say that: when you're putting together your profile, you still have to sound like you're fun. It's not. I'm stuck. I'm religious.
I'm boring.
I'm boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I do is read the Bible all day. It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I quote scripture all day.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not reality. That's not reality. HK is in the house.
Yes.
What's going on, sir?
Hey there, HK.
What's happening? What's happening?
All right. So, Janet, let me ask you this:
Hmm.
Is the issue that you're not being approached in the first place, or is it that the guys that are approaching you are not the right guys? Or give us a little bit more detail about that.
Yeah, because we could not speak on it before because you weren't on. So here you are.
Right, and now that we know what she looks like, she's clearly attractive, so there's no problem there.
Right.
I think the issue is a little bit of both. Like I get approached every now and then, like coworkers like that. But honestly, it's even when I do get approached, it's not someone who I would ideally want to be with, and I don't know if I'm sending out um, some sort of message. And my friend I actually did ask my friend about like, hey, what is it about me that you think might be the deal? And he said maybe it's because you carry yourself very well with so much confidence, and maybe people might not know how to approach that, which I don't know if that makes any sense. But he said it's because I carry myself. I don't know. He just said I carry myself well, and that might not be what guys are looking for. I don't know. I really, I really couldn't tell you.
No, ignore that answer. That's not it. Listen, I'm a guy, so I can speak for guys here. We are primitive. We do not put that much thought into it. Okay, we're primitive. We look at you and go, oh, she's attractive. We don't look at you and go, she's well dressed. I better stay back. No. We don't put that much thought into it. It's like she's nice looking. I'm interested. That's as deep as we go.
Well, there's two more other things that could be. I don't know if this is a thing. I do look young. I definitely do not look in my 30s. People have thought I was 18 to 25.
Okay.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Well, if that was the case, certainly there would be some pattern of younger guys approaching you. Is that happening or not happening?
Not in real life. Like I have people like on Facebook and stuff try to message me, but I'm all about maybe this is like a fairy tale, but I envision my future husband seeing me in public and coming up to me and pursuing me. You know, I don't like the idea of like online or anything. I just want someone who will be brave enough to come up and talk to me. They like what they see, they like my energy, and they want to speak to me. That's my thing.
I understand. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I do think maybe it's because I may not put myself out there enough. I'm going to start since it's summer, but honestly, a lot of times I'm a very sit at home type person. So it could just be I'm not just showing my face enough time, honestly. And when I do, it's in and out. Um, I don't want to say I'm antisocial, but I am a very quiet person. And I don't know if that might be uh, part of it.
Okay.
Because I'm quiet, sometimes I feel like people don't know how to read me. They don't know if I like them or whatnot. So that might be off putting as well. I wouldn't think so, but I'm just trying to throw out what I'm assuming, what I'm
Okay, right.
thinking.
Now, without giving us any sort of information about where you work, I'm not asking that, but in your work environment, is it an environment in which you interact with a lot of people day in and day out, or is it a small office, or
Yeah, I interact with a lot of people, but but like the people at work who have pursued me, it was coworkers. It wasn't like people in the public. It was always been coworkers.
okay?
Okay. Did you see the comment by Avia?
Um, can't let me see.
Yeah, you are beautiful. Just stay as you are. The right man will have healthy self value enough to approach without fear.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really want someone who's going to come and talk to me. I don't know. To me that's very attractive and masculine. Is a man who just they like what they see and they want to go for it and not be scared. That's really
Oh, okay.
that's
Listen, I agree with all that. All I'm saying is, if you and that guy don't cross paths and he doesn't know you exist, that's all I'm saying.
But don't you feel like if they don't know I exist, that's not the person for me if we hadn't have met otherwise?
No, all I'm saying is if he works in some other office building somewhere and when you guys each come to work and go home, your paths just never cross. Even though if your path did cross, you would be a great match. But because your paths don't cross, neither one of you even knows about the other one. That's all I'm saying is,
So he's basically saying that, I mean, he's advocating for going to Match.com or eHarmony or whatever it is.
here's why. Because, first of all, you don't, if you put a profile on Match.com, you don't have to do anything. You can get 100 responses overnight. You don't have to answer one of them if you don't want to. And you can delete your profile the next day if you want to. All I'm saying is it just doesn't obligate you to anything. But it opens up possibilities that otherwise you might not even know exist and that they might not know exist. And I'm telling you from my own experience, looking at you right now, you'll get 100 responses overnight. You will.
So you're saying just like keep that as an option, like as an avenue
That's all
to
I'm
me.
saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, because you can still meet somebody in the street and then, or
Right.
wherever, and going to Starbucks or whatever. However, you just kind of broaden the field.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's all.
It's just broaden the field. And like you
Yeah,
said, you don't have
yeah.
to answer. And
Yeah,
if
you're not obligated
And if
to do
you're
anything.
reading, it's like idiot, idiot, idiot. Swipe left, swipe left.
Oftentimes you can tell just by what they write, this guy is not for me. Or you can read his own self-description on his profile and go, he is not for me. So, and that's completely up to you. You're not obligated to do anything. You're not obligated to respond.
Yeah.
Just gives you.
The same thing as if they walked up to you in the street, you don't have to respond. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, it just broadens, because they might be in another city. They might be in another state.
Yeah, if he lives in a town 10 miles from you, you guys are not going to bump into each other in Walmart. You're not. But now you can see each other. So, anyway, most of my online dating experiences were very positive. It's not what led to marriage. Actually, that was Facebook. But,
Well, Facebook does have dating apps, which I didn't even know. I was like, what is this?
It does, but it's kind of like Tinder. It's just where you swipe, swipe, swipe. It's kind of shallow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
like a day.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know people, I know people that have, like I said, they've done it, and it's not like Oh yeah, I met them. We've been together for 3 years. Like they're like going like 20, 25 years. So
Yeah, and Janet, because you're about to turn 32, I don't want to make any assumptions, but let's just consider for a moment that you'd like to get married and have kids, right?
Hmm. I
Well,
do.
okay, so all I'm thinking is
not me.
playing the waiting game, at least up until this point, hasn't really been all that fruitful. So I'm trying to think of something that might add some more possibilities into the mix. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
So you think I'm limiting myself by not wanting to do any online dating?
Well, I do, and I'll just speak from my own personal experience. In my 20s, I worked in nightclubs, so having a social life was easy. But by the time I got into my mid 30s and wasn't doing that anymore, I found that the different avenues for meeting members of the opposite sex were really constricting, and there weren't that many options. And in fact, our story, I met her in Best Buy of all places.
I used to work there.
Well, that's right. You told us that. That's right.
Yeah.
So the likelihood that that's going to happen in Best Buy is not really a strong likelihood. So once internet dating became a thing, I thought it was awesome because, again, it just opens up a huge door of possibilities. And ultimately, each person decides what they do or do not want to pursue and how active or not active they want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of the things that you're going to have to do is build healthy boundaries. When you start stepping into these relationships or building these relationships, because you are still in a place where you have to honor yourself, you have to honor God, and you have to be willing to be patient and willing to wait for His timing. Because He might be online looking for His rib. He might be. And if you're not there, He's not going to find you. So, I don't know. I think that you should kind of be open to it. I mean, and then there are people that will say things like, well, God, if God wants them to meet, He'll have them drive into town or whatever. Listen, it can happen. The way the Lord has ordered my footsteps, it can happen because He moved me from state to state to state, or sent me out of the country or whatever. So I always say God plays chess, and He does. So we don't want to put a limit on God, but you don't also want to limit yourself.
Right. Janet, how long has it been since you were, I'm not going to say in a relationship, but since you were just dating, going on dates? Or how long has it been? Recent or not?
It's been 2 years.
Okay. See, that's not helpful. I mean, she's 32 and she's attractive and by all appearances has herself together. So it's just something's.
Well, this is what somebody had told me once. Well, God is hiding you. That's why nobody's coming up to you. And I was like, at first I said, oh, okay. And then after a while, I was like, really?
Yeah.
But I will say this, because I was by myself for 7 years. 7. And I'm like, okay, so somebody over here is over 50. But I had a different mindset. I wasn't interested. I was so done. I didn't even care. Other people were coming to me with the whole marriage thing. But what they all, no matter what state they were in, no matter what city they were in, the Lord was speaking to all of them, and He said to them, I was going to get married. And He kept saying it because I kept saying no. So He had to keep sending people because I kept saying no. So He was doing me a favor. There's a scripture where God is speaking to Jeremiah, and He says, is my word not like a hammer to break in pieces the rock? Because I was a rock. I was like, I'm so done. I'm not. I said, I actually said this. This is so funny. I said, I am as interested in marriage as I am in Brussels sprouts. And everybody that knew me knew I did not like Brussels sprouts. I never had Brussels sprouts, but I knew that I did not like it.
Wow.
He eats Brussels sprouts
7 days a week. She married into Brussels sprouts.
Right. So, but they all said the same thing, that no, the Lord has somebody, and He's gonna be this and that and da 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 da. Da. And I was like, right. So you didn't hear what I just said, but eventually my heart softened, and I really had to go to the Lord to seek Him on why I kept saying no. You know, the reason for the real reason. And he started talking to me about the cavern, you know, the deep places, the things that you don't see about yourself. So eventually I was just like, okay, you know, this would be, you know, it would be nice, I guess. I wasn't that thrilled. And then one day I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to say yes to the dress. And 2 days later I changed my mind. So he had to work on me. And in my earlier prayers, I would always say, Lord, you know, prepare my husband for me and me for him. And, you know, so I was very, very specific about my prayer. So, and then here we are.
Just like that.
Just like that. So, and I was all the way in Maui. He is all the way in Florida. And we weren't even talking. But the Lord was working.
Mhm.
He was working. And so, so his internet dating got him nothing.
Just depends on.
Shut up. So anyway, all we're saying is basically, let me. Oh, okay. So Avian said that she had tried online dating for 5 years. She never met anyone. Now I prefer to meet in person, which is a challenge at my age. Not many singles that are available in
Right.
congregations because most get
Right,
married.
which is exactly what I was thinking. Like, she might meet somebody at church, but then again, that's going to be a lot harder. It's limited as opposed to opening up possibilities. It's very limited.
So this is the advice that I would give. I would definitely say to be open, but I would also say be prayerful. You want to be prayerful because the Bible says, acknowledge me in everything that you do, and I will direct your path. So you may start with a plan, but then because you've given him the permission to do whatever he wants with the plan, to switch the plan, to tweak the plan, or whatever it is, then he will direct you in it. I think that sometimes we're either too religious and too stringent, or we're just all over the place. And then there's the other part that's somewhere in the middle. So if you are open, and if you are going to stick to your guns and that is your desire, then just really put it before the Lord. You don't have to keep praying it all the time. Well, Lord, I need a husband. Lord, I want a husband. He already knows what you want, what you need, but you want to present it. Okay, Lord, I'm going to, put my profile on, or tell me which one to put it on, and wait. And if he says something great, or if you feel in your heart, I think it's Match.com, or I think it's eHarmony, whichever one he says to do. And then build your profile, have somebody else look at it, because you want to sound interesting since the person is not yet talking to you or meeting you, because they're just reading. And men, they're visual, so they'll be looking at pictures.
Yeah, but since you mentioned the thing about have somebody else read it, let us read it. Seriously.
Okay, I can do that.
Right.
Yeah, and some other people, and people that know you really well.
Right.
Because you want your personality to come through. So.
But if it's been 2 years since you've been on a date, it's simply because not enough dudes know you exist. Because again, you're attractive, you're articulate, you've got yourself together, you got a nice smile. There's nothing about that package that a guy would say not interested. Oh, yeah. So I'm telling you, they just don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And even the ones that have been, like, there's been one at work. They're not actually trying to get to know me. It's very like shallow, like very one-dimensional conversations.
For guys.
And I'm like deep person. I don't want to sit there and talk about, the weather all day long.
Right.
I'm just finding sometimes it's just very like just shallow talk, not really actual, getting to know each other, taking me out, things like that. I don't know if it's a generational thing or what, but that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, HK said if you go on route, just be mindful of the Neanderthals and
Hmm.
Definitely, definitely. Again, you're a minnow swimming among sharks. The
Hmm.
majority of guys on online dating sites, no question, are looking for sex. They're looking for a sexual conquest, that kind of thing. So you can't pretend that you don't know it's out there. It is there. You just have to be mindful of that and avoid that, and have your radar up, and just be committed to what it is that you're looking for.
yeah, you just gotta stick to.
Yeah.
HK, she's in Tennessee.
Yeah. Online dating isn't even something I thought about until you guys brought it up. I haven't really thought about it for like years and years, honestly.
Janet, it's just another avenue. Don't think of it
Hmm.
more than less. Back in the '80s, way before you were born, we all went out to clubs. That's where you met. But the club, other than being a fun place, it was just an avenue for social interaction. It was a place to meet somebody. So just think of online dating as just another avenue. That's all it is.
That's all. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it,
Yeah.
and just make sure you put your profile together, and then we'll look at it. You have some other people look at it, and like, would you be interested in this person? Would you know what I'm saying? So, as Avia said, but if the men are believers, should that be the mindset that they have?
Well, but that's the whole point. We want her to attract the guys who are believers, so that they do share the mindset.
Right, and let me say this: just because a man goes to church and he's a believer, does not mean that he does not have hormones and he doesn't want a close relationship, physical
Right.
relationship. So you don't, yeah. I don't even want to go on that tangent, but but because men are still visual.
Right. And also, and I've told you this, that throughout my life, most of my dating experiences, when I say most, I'm probably close to 90%, were women who stated openly, I go to church, I'm a practicing Christian, whatever, and none of that, depending on how you apply that, was applicable.
So, okay, let me ask you this. How do you know that, like, what's a telltale sign that they're actually going to be okay with waiting? Because, I mean, any guy could say anything. If you lay out the foundation, he could play the part. And I've heard of girls who made guys wait like months, and then after he got it, he left.
Okay,
So,
so
how
here,
do I know?
I'm going to answer you like this, and I think that this will wrap it up pretty good, but of course you can add to this.
Mm-hmm.
So, HK asked the other day, or last week when we had our video, he said, yeah, but what about a guy who will read the profile and just look at it as a challenge? Like, oh, I'll put on an act for her. And it's true, those kind of guys exist, okay? So let's just assume that based upon your profile, which doesn't say anything about waiting until marriage, it just describes you in a way that it's clear you are a practicing Christian, you go to church, whatever. So any guy who reads it is going to at least cross his mind that this might be a girl who wants to wait until marriage to have sex, all right? And again, we don't want to necessarily go right into this on the first date, but sometime within the first date or two or three or whatever, the conversation will lead in that direction, because it's normal to ask, okay, there seems to be a mutual interest here. Give me your thoughts on how you'd like to see this play out. And when that conversation comes up, whether it's on the first date or the second or the third or the fourth, it doesn't matter. When it comes up, it now falls upon you to say, I hope I'm not going to scare you away with this, but I'm being blunt and I'm being honest. I don't want to have sex until I'm married. And I like you, and I hope that you'll respect that. But if it's something that is not for you, I'll understand, but we're not a match. And that's pretty much the way you would want to play that. Because
You
if the
think
guy
that's
is trying to pressure you into having sex after you've already told him that, he is not the guy. He's either going to respect it or he's not.
so you think it should come up in conversation? I thought I should just not ever say anything, and then he'll find out. You
No,
know, just not get into
no,
anything or not entertain that.
no. It should come up in conversation. It just should not be the lead in on the first date. Okay, that should not be that. But it is a normal thing to talk about at some point
At
in
some
the
point,
in the
yeah.
getting to know each other phase.
Yeah.
Because this is really a large element of who you are. And if
What if
he
what
wants to get
what
to know you,
what if saying that comes off as too strong? Like I feel like for me, knowing my personality, I wouldn't be scared to say it, but it comes off very strong to me, don't you think?
I think it just depends on how you say it.
Yeah, and the way that the conversation arises. I mean, it may come up by if they're trying to touch you inappropriately, and then you're like, okay, then you're saying it then, or it could be when you guys are talking about, well, what do you think about, marriage? Are you because some people they are online and their only point of being online is they are looking for marriage.
What HK is saying right there is right on the money. All conversations should happen organically. It
Yes.
shouldn't be forced. You guys are trying to get to know each other. Lots of topics are going to come up, and at some point, when this comes up, you just lead into it naturally.
Right. Yeah.
You don't pull out a statement prepared written by a lawyer and say, "Yeah, now hear this."
Right, that part. Yeah, it definitely should happen organically. And all relationships, even when Kenny and I first got back together, and it seemed like it was going somewhere. And I remember when he told me how he felt, and he said, and if this is not a road that you want to go down, just let me know right now. And I was just like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So, and at the time.
And if she didn't want to go down it, I would have definitely wanted her to say that.
Yeah.
We started talking or whatever, and I was starting to have feelings for her again after 25 years. So I go, oh, geez, what am I getting myself into? So I said, okay, listen, I'm starting to have feelings. If this is a road you don't want to go down, please be decent enough to just tell me.
Yeah, because I wasn't thinking about it. Like I moved. I just got here. Da 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 da. Oh, Kenny, hey, what's up? Yeah. So I wasn't. Yeah. I mean, the Lord had given me a dream, and then I was still trying to figure that one out. Like, wait, what are you saying? And then when he said this, then it's just like, okay, Nabia, 1 and 1. Oh, yeah, it's 2. Yeah. So, yeah, and yeah, I can't really talk about all that right now. But anyway, I don't want to.
Right.
So, we encourage you to be open, to be again, and I'm just repeating myself, to bring the Lord into your process, and let your conversations happen organically, because you still have to get to know this person, but people will show themselves. If it's somebody that's just trying to scam and wait, while you are waiting or getting to know this person, pray. Ask the Lord to show you what they're trying to hide or what they're trying to keep from you. I mean, there was this one guy I was talking to, and I remember I literally woke up at 2:00 in the morning, and I said, Lord, I'm always on my guard, and everything looks like he's saying the right thing and he's doing the right thing, and I said, show me who he really is. I got an answer like about a week and a half later. He didn't have any idea what was happening. I had to ask, because again, said the right things, looked the right way, did the right things, and I said, show me who he is.
So when I ask God for what I want, should I be very specific?
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with being specific, but at the same time, what you're asking more than anything is just for him to guide, just to guide you,
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't have to deliver a husband to your doorstep. Just point me in the right direction, guide me.
Yeah, Lord. over here waiting for my husband, but I still don't have no tracking number.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've asked him for someone before, and he delivered someone for sure, but it was definitely the wrong person.
No, well,
So,
then that wasn't the Lord delivering it.
oh, okay.
The devil knows what you want.
Uh,
God doesn't do that. He doesn't go, oh, my bad. No, no. The devil knows what you want. He knows what you're asking for. He knows what you like, and he's more than happy to ship that to you. So I always tell people that blessings and curses come wrapped up in flesh.
they do.
HK says specific like what? Height, weight, money?
Yeah, because I know we all have our standards. So, like, should I sit there and ask for like what I want, or?
You can, well, okay, so there's the what I want naturally, and then there's the what I want spiritually.
Right.
See, my list was like, oh no, you got to be this tall. He's got that. That was me, but people thought I was shallow. I was like, no, I know what I want. I know I want a guy that works out, that takes care of himself. That's what I asked for. That's what I want. So that's what I got. But sometimes the Lord will send you somebody that maybe you would not have chosen them, but this was a better choice.
Okay.
So then you have to be open to that too. Be like, no, Lord, he's too short, because that would have been me. I would have been like, oh heck no, this is
Yeah,
not God. This is the devil.
yeah, because I've rejected people that don't fit like the physical
Yeah,
box that
yeah.
I had a future partner.
Right, because everybody has a buy box. This is what I want. This is what it had to be. This is my criteria. He's got to be this high, and his money got to be this wide. So,
Hmm.
and we don't want to pray and ask for things out of our flesh, and so we want to pray for the will of the Lord, and that's what we lead with. Father, I just pray, your will for who my husband is going to be, and I would like XYZ, XYZ. But as you get closer to the Lord, your prayers will get purified. Certain things that you thought you wanted, it will just fall off. That's not what you want, because what you're really asking for is what you need.
Oh, okay, okay.
HK, shut up.
He is fly though.
But so there's somebody for everyone. But when you want to just make sure you're praying the will of the Lord for your mate, and to also and this is what I always tell people: if they have issues, Lord, show me what their issues are, so I can start praying for them now. So, because you don't want all the issues to show up on your doorstep, because sometimes it does happen. So
Hmm.
whatever the issues are, and I pray against whatever it might be that the Lord is showing you, because nobody is perfect. I'm gonna say it again for those in the cheap seats. Nobody is perfect. There's always going to be something, but ask the Lord to prepare you for whatever the challenges will be. That will still be when you guys meet and or get married. So, and it's just a more mature way to pray.
Mm.
Yeah, because we can't pray for benzos and long money and tall and muscular and all this other stuff. Although it's kind of nice, and you can get that. However, you want to pray a more mature prayer. That he be filled with his spirit, that he is a son of the Most High God, that he is one that is obedient, and that he will love me the way Christ loved the church, and that we will serve together, and that I will respect him and love him, a man that I can honor. It's more spiritual. And then, the natural things is that he makes me laugh, that we can have fun, things like that. So, you know,
You guys are giving me things to think about, some things that I never actually thought about. I think I was thinking about all the wrong things, but you guys are kind of putting things in perspective.
Well, we're personally invested now, so we're going to follow through and and make sure that you find that right guy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, please do, because I feel like I'm in a good place in my life where I'm ready. Maybe I'm not, I don't know, but I feel like I am ready, and I'm operating from a good, healthy space, or at least that's what I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish we had one of those ah the assessments for single people.
oh,
We have them for engaged people, we have them for married people, but not for single people. But I may be able to pull one up because there are things that you have to know about yourself.
Hmm.
You got to know about yourself. You got to know what your headspace is and what your real motivations are. Because I tell people all the time when I'm coaching them, most people do not even know themselves. They don't know what's in them. They don't know until something happens.
right. But we also should mention this because previously we didn't really know exactly what her situation was. We know a lot more now, but one of my thoughts was, is it a question of guys are not approaching her in the first place, or are guys approaching her and taking her out on one or two dates and then never calling back? So we didn't know any of that kind of thing. And so if it was a case of you're going on dates and then the guy doesn't ever want to go on a second date, then that would be one of those cases of you really have to look at yourself and look at what might be going on inside of you, whatever. But in this case, and now that it's clear, you're just not really being approached. And I'm telling you, as a guy, looking at you and talking to you, guys your age, I know how guys think. We're wired basically the same. Guys your age will look at you and approach you. So if they're not approaching you, it's because they don't know that you are there. They don't see you. They don't even know that you exist.
Yeah.
So you just need to get your face out there, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and then sometimes, I was told, sometimes the Lord is hiding you and shielding you from the nonsense. So that's the other thing, and you just never know. But I'm really encouraging you. Please get into prayer. We're almost at the top of the hour, and so we're gonna close this. But
Oh yeah.
you have to get in prayer. You want to, partner with the Lord so that He ensures that you are with the person that you should be with.
Yes.
Don't leave him
Yeah.
out of it. That's
Just
what.
start doing.
Yeah,
I don't as much as I should, but I need to start doing.
yeah. You don't leave him out. I mean, he is like he's your rock, your shield. He's your rod, your staff. He is your rear guard, and he is your covering until you have a natural covering. And so just take the time to spend with the Lord, so that Aviyah says everything is in His timing. Yeah,
Mhm.
so you want to take the time to spend with the Lord. I think a lot of times that we're so busy, we want this, we just forget Him. We forget Him.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that, definitely.
Yeah, I think we've all done it. So I've been there, so busy with everything else, and I don't pray unless I like something happens and I'm in trouble. So
Mm.
yeah, He wants a relationship. Because then there are people that I know that ran off, they got married to who they wanted to. Now they have a prayer life. You know why? Because this buster is the wrong. And they're like, oh, Lord, change him. Oh, no, you chose him. You stuck with it. Baby. So, yeah, HK said you will be seen. So, you have the tools, and prayer is a tool. You have the physicality, you have the confidence, you know what you want. Just include the Lord. I think that may be your missing piece.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think you might be right, and I never actually thought about it like that.
Yeah, yeah. Just make sure you include Him, and He will um, direct your paths. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad
Okay.
that we get together and do this finally. I'm so glad we get to
Yeah.
have that face interaction.
Yeah.
This was good, really good.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
we'll do it again.
yeah, I probably have to now take her as a daughter now and just like.
I'm okay with that. You guys seem like you'd be the cool parents.
Yeah, you say that now. Well, we will always be the cool parents, but then when I start saying, okay, this has to happen, this cannot happen, you'll be like, oh my God, you just don't want me to live. And I'm like, no, I want you to live. That's why I'm telling you this. So, anywho, all right, so we are getting ready to close this out. You have been a joy and a pleasure.
Definitely.
I'm so glad
Thank
to
you.
have
You
you on.
too. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. We are here. Feel free to always reach out to us, and we'll definitely keep you in prayer. And if you want us to pray with you, we'll definitely do that as well. So,
Yeah.
so I think that'll be a good thing.
All right. So in about a month or two or whatever, let's do a follow up and just see where
Yeah.
she's at and see how things are going.
Yeah, yeah. For
Yeah,
the
let's do it.
public, we'll wait a month.
Yeah.
For the public, we'll wait a month.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So, with that said, we are going to close this out. Thank you, Janet, once again, so much for being a good sport.
Yeah. Thanks, Janet.
And putting
Yeah,
your
thank
life
you
out
guys for
there.
having me on as a guest. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. All right. So, okay, guys. So, what we're about to do is we're about to shut this down. We are so happy that we got to do this with J10.
Yeah.
And we will have a follow up. Please make sure that you comment, that you like, that you subscribe. And for y'all that know me, do not text me your comments because YouTube can't see my phone. So save all your little comments for YouTube so that they can see it and so that they know how to boost this video. It's a very important conversation.
Yeah.
How to just stay fast, hold fast to your truths and to not compromise. So that's it. I'm Nabia.
I'm Kenny.
And this has been Kanavi Coloring Outside the Lines. See you next time.
Now I say your name without the pain behind it. I'm moved on now. I'm not trying to impress you anymore. Spending all this time trying to get you out my mind. Oh, it feels so good to take you off the pedestal. I don't know what I was thinking. Let it be more than drinking and going back to your place, never to see you again. That was simply delusion, followed up with confusion. That was just substitution for a lonely bed.